Welcome to the LEGO Ideas Dinosaur Fossils. So this is an interesting one to me. I love this concept. I love that this is just sort of a more educational-ish kind of thing, and it's a real thing that existed, and it's also just a cool LEGO concept that can just be displayed well. And yeah, I love these things. But I definitely have some thoughts on this, so stick around for that after the speed build. And with that, I am sure you know how the buttons work down there by now, so do click on it, please. Let's get to the speed build for this, and then my actual final thoughts and a review, of course, on the LEGO dinosaur fossils. Here we go. Alright, and it is done. So, I have a few thoughts on this. The main thoughts that I have, just before I even talk about each individual thing, every single one of these has pieces that I just don't understand why they're the off colors. So these little joint pieces, I can forgive that because these are color locked. That is fine. Whatever. What I cannot forgive is these weird tan pieces that are just all over the place in this guy, and then I really don't understand why these pieces are color locked and then the other side of the piece isn't. So that gray piece doesn't make any sense on this guy either. So really just the tan pieces and then just those specific gray pieces on this guy, none of those pieces make sense to me. I do not understand why they had to be gray or tan or brown or whatever. There's just no real logic in that. And anyway, to start with, let's go over the T-Rex, or the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I think this definitely has the best overall shape, at least in my opinion. I think it has the best sort of silhouette. I think from a distance, you wouldn't even notice that this is a Lego set, more so than the other two. These two are just a little bit more, I don't know, clunky, I guess would be the word. And just the side silhouette of this guy looks really good. There's just no denying that, really. And I gotta say, these guys are pretty sturdy as well, so I will give Lego that. That is good. The downside of that, of course, is that you can't take these guys off the stand without just completely changing how they're built, basically entirely, because they're built into the stands, basically except for this guy, which you can kind of take more easily off the stand. We'll get to that. So with this T-Rex, again, the biggest problem I really have is those tan, especially this where it attaches to the rib. I don't understand why that had to be tan. And I don't understand why some of these other in the jaw and the neck had to be tan either. It doesn't look good in my opinion. It kind of, I get that they wanted contrast, but this is a skeleton. There shouldn't be any contrast. It should just be all white. It's a skeleton. So it doesn't really make any sense that there's any other colors other than white, but I can get over, again, the color locked joint pieces with the ball joint pieces. That I can get over. Basically everything else in terms of the color, I can't get over. And I do have to point out, these are all stickers, no printed pieces in this, unfortunately. I really don't know why they couldn't make these printed pieces. They could have really benefited from making all of these, really, just printed pieces instead of, well, whatever sticker they are now. But admittedly, the sticker is a little bit of a nitpick. And I can't not mention the actual posability of this guy, because that is definitely one of the things that is really cool about this. You can pose that, you can pose his arms, you can pose his little fingies, and yeah, I really like that actually. You can pose his tail to an extent. I think it would have been cooler if they could have done more ball joints, but again, that would have made it more gray in there, so I'm okay with it just being gray on the end. And that gives it a little bit of flair that you can add to the end of the tail, a little bit of curve, to kind of give it some motion. I like that. And the little up and down for the end of it. But yeah, that works for me. And some of the other stuff you're not really meant to adjust, like this bone down here is pretty much exactly how it's supposed to be. That's its stomach bone, so you're not really meant to adjust that, but technically you can. But yeah, obviously that's pretty anatomical, other than, the things that are meant to be moved, like the neck and the jaw and the tail. And of course, you can't really adjust anything of the legs. You can't make him bend down or bend up. That I kind of wish that they had been able to add into at least just one joint in here to kind of make him be able to just go downwards. That would have been cool. Not just a little bit of a nitpick, but not something I'm gonna oh no, why didn't they do that? Just a little bit of a nitpick. And with that, moving on to the second largest, the Triceratops. The Triceratops horridus, I guess? I don't really know if I'm saying that right. Sure, people will correct me in the comments for that. But anyway, so yeah, same again with this guy. Just don't understand the tan pieces, especially in the head. That doesn't make any sense to me. and then the tan piece that connects the skeleton or the rib cage to the body. That tan piece just doesn't make any sense. Not much you can actually do with this guy. I really wish that you could actually move his jaw up and down, but I guess that was just a limitation they came up with in terms of the design. Not being able to move the jaw, at least, is a little bit of a downside in this guy, but at least you can move his head and give him a little bit of expression. And you can, again, move the tail a little bit to give that a little bit of an expression, but no up and down movement in the joints of the legs again, so nothing special there. Like the other one, it is attached to the stand, so you can't really take this guy off and separate it from the stand and play with it as a separate thing. So if you wanted to play with it, you would be playing with it with the stand. And just the overall look of this guy, I will say, not the best silhouette. I mean, it does represent a Triceratops pretty well. There's no denying that it looks like one, but I will say that the silhouette of the T-Rex really just outshines this one by a lot. And finally, moving on to the last one, we will talk about the minifigs in a sec. The Pterodon, I actually kind of like this one because you can adjust the sort of way it is on the stand, so you can make him sort of flying more straight up or have him moving, more down to a limit there. Of course, you can snap him off if you move him too far down, but you can at least have him sort of, vertical or up. So there's a little bit of adjustment you can do with him at the very least. So that is nice. Of course, you can easily just detach this guy from the stand, and if you really wanted, you could detach this black piece down here pretty easily if you just get a little brick separator and sort of push that into there and get that piece out. Shouldn't be big of a problem, but it is hard to do by hand. So I will say that getting that piece out, if you don't want to just sort of disassemble the entire thing to play with it. And I know this set is not really meant to be playable and stuff, but it would have been cool if you could actually take all these guys apart from their stand, just like this guy, and sort of actually play with them, because this guy is really cool to actually play with. I think this is one of the cooler builds of these guys, just because you can take him apart from his stand and, you can adjust his legs, his wings a lot, you can make him flap essentially. The only downside of this guy, again, is these gray pieces for some reason. I don't understand why this side of the piece gets to be white and this side of the piece has to be gray. I don't get why that needs to be a thing, but if somebody can explain that to me, I'll hear you out, but that doesn't really make sense, at least in my eyes, especially when you have things like this where this is clearly black and black, and that's no problem, but white and white, whew. Anyway, that's my biggest complaints with this set, pretty much, is the colors. But anyway, the last couple of things are, of course, the minifigure, the little toolbox, and the actual last skeleton here, which is the Lego Sapiens, which is a very funny, I guess, Homo sapien thing, humans are Homo sapiens. This is a Lego Sapien. That is very funny to me. So I'm gonna actually add this little Lego Sapien guy back to over here with the T-Rex, because I think that makes sense. And this minifigure is probably one of the cooler minifigures just because of the accessory. I love these little magnifying glasses just because, well, they basically work, and that's awesome. I love it. I just love this little Lego piece. So his accessory also just makes sense because, he's somebody who researches bones and stuff, so it makes sense for him to have a little thing for him to be able to do that. And yeah, I'm gonna put him as well next to the T-Rex and his own Lego Sapiens. So yeah, I'm gonna actually put his hat in the accessory box, which comes with a nice little book that has another little sticker with a bone on it there. Nothing too special about that, honestly. A bone and a fully black lipstick piece, which I'm guessing is supposed to be like the brush for brushing off Lego bones, and then you have sort of a pick, a little screwdriver, a cup, and a Lego dinosaur egg, which is actually kind of cool. I'm glad that they put an egg with this because it makes sense. One of these things probably laid an egg, and that makes sense to be able to put that with one of them if you really want to. So, yeah. Cool to have all those, and have this hat to, of course, switch with his hair if you really want to. But yeah. Overall, my biggest complaints are, again, of course, the colors of the pieces, which just, some of them don't really make sense to me. And maybe it was a product of the era or something, and nowadays they can make more colors, so it's easier for them. But regardless, that is just one of those nitpicky things that I really don't like about this. But with that, even with having stickers, it really only has like 4 stickers overall, so that's not really or 5 stickers overall, I think, including the one in the book. So it's not really a huge downside to it. The stickers are nothing crazy hard to put on or anything. Just really kind of weird that they didn't make them prints is all. And with that, I actually think this is a pretty solid build. I really enjoyed this, and I think it's very educational, and in that sense, it is a 4 out of 5, in my opinion. I know that sounds high with all of the complaints that I just said, but really, this is a pretty great set. Like, it's educational. For the most part, it is something that you're just going to want to display, so it's not really a playable set, except for the pterodon. But even with that, I think the displayability of this outweighs the playability a little bit for me, so I can bump it up to that 4. Otherwise, if it was not as displayable as it is, I would probably put it at a 3. And if you are someone that really, really can't get over there being weirdly tan pieces in this, then I would say probably don't go out and get this, because it's probably worth it to go and do it yourself in a better way. But with that, if you do like the overall look of this and stuff, it's probably worth going out and figuring out a way to get this, because even though it is retired now, it is still a very cool and educational LEGO idea sets, which is sort of also part of the point of LEGO Ideas, which is education and inspiration in my eyes. So this hits one of those marks. So with that, I think it's a pretty good build. And yeah, if you have any thoughts on this that you want me to hear, do let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm sure you know how the other buttons work down there by now, so do click them as you please. Thanks again for watching. Mr. HiYodaPanda, out.